The Galactic Combat Federation had seen everything. For 3 centuries, species from across the known galaxy had sent their finest warriors to compete in the grand arena. The Kytherian Razorclaws, the Valdorian Energy Whips, the crystalline projectile launchers of the SpacePirates all had their moment of glory before the crowds of billions. But nothing had prepared them for the humans. Ambassador Thexal of the Andromedian Council shifted uncomfortably in his observation pod as he watched the human fighter, Marcus Chin, enter the arena. The creature looked pathetically fragile compared to his opponent, a towering Gorvok warrior whose natural bone spikes could pierce reinforced steel. The Gorvok, Kreldar, stood nearly 3 meters tall, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the arena lights. "This is absurd," Thexal muttered to his aide. The humans insisted on competing, but look at them. No natural weapons, no protective shells, no enhanced strength. They're basically walking meat sacks. The aide nodded nervously. "The betting pools have the human at 847 to 1 odds, sir. No one expects him to last 30 seconds. What they didn't understand was that humans had been banned from carrying weapons for a reason. 3 months earlier, during the preliminary matches, human competitors had demonstrated an alarming creativity with traditional armaments. They had turned defensive shields into projectiles, used ceremonial blades in ways that violated 17 different combat doctrines, and somehow managed to make a simple staff into a weapon of mass destruction. The Federation's response was swift. All weapons were banned when humans competed. Only natural biological advantages were permitted. The other species had laughed. What could a soft, pink, weapon-dependent species possibly do with just their bodies? They were about to find out. The match began with Kreldar's traditional war cry, a bone-rattling roar that had intimidated countless opponents. Marcus stood perfectly still, his breathing controlled, his stance relaxed. To the untrained eye, he looked like prey frozen in terror. Kreldar charged, his massive bulk thundering across the arena floor. His bone spikes extended, ready to impale the small human. The crowd held its breath, expecting a swift, messy end. Instead, something impossible happened. Marcus moved. Not just moved, he flowed. His body shifted with liquid precision, slipping past Kreldar's charge like water around a stone. As the Gorvok warrior stumbled forward, confused by his missed target, Marcus's hand shot out in a precise strike to a joint in the alien's exoskeleton. The crack echoed through the arena. Kreldar roared in pain and spun around, swiping with his massive claws. Again, Marcus wasn't there. He had already repositioned, studying his opponent with the cold calculation of a surgeon. Another strike, this time to a different joint. Another crack. "What is he doing?" Thexal whispered, leaning forward in his seat. His aide was frantically consulting his datapad. "Sir, I'm reading about something called martial arts. Apparently, humans have been developing hand-to-hand combat techniques for thousands of years. They have hundreds of different fighting styles." On the arena floor, Marcus was demonstrating exactly that. He moved like a dancer and struck like lightning. Every attack was precisely targeted. Nerve clusters, joint connections, weak points in the exoskeleton that Kreldar didn't even know he had. The human's hands had become weapons more deadly than any blade. What made it worse for the other species watching was that Marcus was holding back. They could see it in his controlled movements, his measured breathing. This wasn't desperation or berserker rage, this was technique honed across millennia of human conflict. Kreldar, growing desperate, attempted his species' ultimate attack, a full-body slam that could crush a hover tank. Marcus caught the descending warrior, used his own momentum against him, and in one fluid motion sent the massive Gorvok flying across the arena to land in an unconscious heap. The arena fell silent. Then, slowly, the crowd erupted. They had just witnessed something unprecedented, a species that had weaponized their own bodies to such an extent that they didn't need weapons at all. As Marcus helped his defeated opponent to his feet with respectful courtesy, Thexal realized something that chilled him to his core. Humans hadn't been using weapons as tools of war. They had been using weapons as restraints. The Federation would need new rules. Again.